certified financial planner at Richmond Brothers, Matt Curfman. Hi, Matt.
Hi, Bart. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. Welcome back.
Thank you, sir.
Did you have nice holidays?
Absolutely. It's went by fast, but nice to have some downtime and some longer weekends for everyone. So it was nice from my perspective. How about you?
Yeah, very nice. Restful, relaxing. Stayed right here, but it went by fast.
It sure did. And now we're in 2026.
Yeah. And I think, as people start the brand new year, I remember one of the things you've said, one of the kindest things that we can do for our families is create written clarity. When you talk about that at Richmond Brothers, what are the steps? I mean, is there a process to get to that?
Yeah, sure. We sent, and it should be on your screen, but one of the slides we sent, there's 5 different pillars, we call them. And the very top one is income planning, investment planning, tax planning, healthcare planning, and legacy. And what we try to work on with families that we work with is to try to go through all 5 of these. And depending on where you are in your life, you might not need all 5 of them at once, but they're all really, really critical and important, and they all kind of tie together. A lot of times someone who is still working, their income plan is their job. But when they are getting ready to retire, they have to coordinate. Maybe they're lucky enough to have an older pension. Maybe they've saved in a 401k or 403b or have Roth IRAs. Maybe they're not 62 and they can't draw Social Security yet, but eventually they'll have Social Security. So how do you coordinate all that and create an income in retirement? And that ties into what's your allocation and your risk tolerance for your investments. We talked actually at the holidays together about the legacy planning side. And, just doing your family a favor and kind of sitting down and creating an organized, even a 1-page checklist of where your different accounts are at, where your different assets are at, looking at beneficiaries. So that kind of falls under that legacy planning. And again, these are things that we all like to put our head in the sand on and presume that we're never going to die or we're never going to have a health issue. The sad fact is a lot of people do, and this stuff is not buttoned up, and it creates a lot of scary times for those that are healthy and still here in your family to deal with.
And the stress of this, I guess, it's lessened because we're at the start of the year. There's not a deadline. We don't have like 2 weeks we have to get this done.
Sure. And deadlines often come in the form of either health scares or car accidents or things that are just unexpected. And so what we did is I wrote down, and I included them in here, but some of the things that we see a lot of people face, just simple questions even around the idea of retirement. So on Social Security, for example, most people can draw Social Security between 62 and 70 on their own benefit. If they're a widow or widower, they could potentially start drawing as soon as 60. But depending on when you retire and depending on how long you've paid in, and if you're married and you have spousal benefits, do I draw them at 62? Do I wait until 67? Do I wait till 70? These are really big choices that affect the longevity of your plan. So that's one question we work with a lot of people on.
And it's not a one-size-fits-all answer.
Absolutely not. There's a lot of circumstances. And actually, we're about to teach some educational events on Social Security. And one of the takeaways is, you can draw up the best Social Security plan ever, but you have to coordinate that with those 5 pillars because it's not isolated, it's not on its own. So that was one question. Another one that we see come up quite a bit is someone who has been a great saver. They've been putting money in their 401k, getting company match or 403bs at the hospitals, healthcare systems, and they have accounts all over the place from former jobs, and now they want to get ready to retire. This comes up a lot in January. We talked about New Year's resolutions, and believe it or not, a lot of people resolve that they want to be more organized in their retirement planning. And so it's a great time to start thinking about these things.
And people want to know how long they're going to live. Can you help people with that?
Yeah, what we do is when you come into our office, we have this amazing crystal ball. And when that question comes up, we go into the safe and we pull that ball out, and then we can tell people. No, but it's probably one of the biggest questions and one of the hardest things to plan around is, am I going to outlive my savings? Am I going to outlive my retirement assets? And there's a lot of variables that play into that. You can look at family history, you can look at your own health, and the bottom line is you're never going to know, but we want to help you make some reasonable assumptions together so that we can help you do proper planning.
And when we get into retirement, our retirement checks or Social Security deposits, they might be coming at a different frequency than our paychecks, and people need to adjust to the change in timing.
Absolutely. So many times when we're working, most people have one job. Some people have more than one job, but you're used to getting a paycheck usually every 2 weeks or maybe twice a week. So you have 26 pays, and that's kind of a normal cadence. Well, when you retire, you quit that job, and you kind of say, well, Social Security tells you when you're going to get your deposit. You don't get to pick. You can have some flexibility. We work with clients on when they draw from their portfolios, depending on the asset or the investment vehicle. So you have some flexibility there, but it's not quite the same. And so we try to equate this back to a monthly income. So if you were used to getting 2 paychecks, what was that total? And then what does that number need to be in retirement? And so we still want to figure out what's the annualized number and come up with a new cadence. But again, it's change, and it takes some time getting used to for people.
The other thing that happens to people in their 60s, besides the Social Security decision, is the healthcare coverage decision.
Yeah, great transition. So in general, Medicare is going to become primary for almost everyone at the age of 65. So the question comes up, well, what if someone wants to retire at 62? Not only do you have to figure out when do I draw my Social Security, but what if I retire and I don't have retiree health insurance? Do I go out on the state health care exchange under the Affordable Care Act? There could be changes down the road there. Can I not retire until 65? And we've done a number of scenarios planning with families where they have been able to retire younger than 65. And we basically model a higher income need from their assets just for a couple year period of time until Medicare becomes primary. So bottom line is there's a lot of decisions, a lot of moving pieces, and these are great topics that we work with a lot of different families on.
Well, let's try to make this practical. Let's come up with, maybe you have 1 or 2 action steps that people can take right now, something concrete.
Sure. So I think to bring that all together, Bart, if I'm in your viewers' shoes and thinking about all these topics and trying to not be overwhelmed, one, if anyone out there is watching and wants to review timing of their Social Security with just a simple, you can go to our website and make a request. We're happy to run a Social Security timing report for you. We'll need to gather some information, of course, first, and some other data. So that's one piece. Number 2, what I think if I'm you, just sitting down and creating as simple as you can, maybe a 1-page inventory of, okay, where do I have different investment accounts? Where do I have maybe different bank or credit union accounts? And not only listing approximate values, but titling. So like on your home, do you own it jointly? Do you own it individually? Do you own it in a trust? Your retirement account, do you have beneficiaries named? What are they at every custodian? So Fidelity, Vanguard, Schwab, those are custodian examples. So just an inventory, because that really is a major step, especially if you're going to go sit with someone like myself or my team as a financial planner. It's a really good, simple way to start saying, okay, let's take a deep dive into what this looks like.
And we've talked about starting this in December, organizing in December where you can do it anytime, but you should revisit it on a regular basis too.
Absolutely. So, unless you live in a vacuum, life changes, and even your former guest, Mayor Mahoney, mentioned how there's just changes in life, and you need to constantly revisit this, but don't let that overwhelm. You and I talked about some New Year's resolutions on the break, and just being present in the moment and saying, what can I do now? What can I do today? So that maybe this isn't a stressor for my family or for me if something were to happen unexpected.
And share it don't just lock it away under your mattress. Let someone else know.
Yeah, let someone else know where you keep those documents. If you work with a financial advisor, an accountant, or attorneys already for estate planning, make sure you're communicating with them. If you're not working with anyone and you think you might need some help, a couple of resources we have, you can just go to richmondbrothers.com. And I have a copy of my book about fearless retirement, and it's really meant for the public. It's not meant for financial advisors like myself. But you can request a free copy with just a little bit of information. We can send that out. And again, it's just educational. There's no sales gimmicks or pitches. We want to share information. We want to educate our community. And even if you're not right here in the Jackson area, you can still go on there and make that request.
Yeah, you gave the book to Andy last fall, and it sat here, it sat here, it sat here. He finally took it home. So,
does that mean you read it?
Well, we'll find out. He's coming up next.
Okay.
Yeah.
He's your next guest.
He is.
Oh,
yes.
That's fun.
It's Meet the JTV staff season.
Oh, fun.
Yeah. All right. So as we start 2026, any final thoughts as we get the year going?
I think if you listen to all that news and that information and you feel overwhelmed by it, don't. Just feel free to reach out without having to commit to anything, without having to make any decisions. If you just want help, you want to coach, that is what we are here for. We work a lot with families, especially right here in Jackson, but also all over the country when people move. But we are a Jackson-based firm and would be honored to have any discussion with people who would like help.
Well, you can certainly get more information from Matt and his team at Richmond Brothers, but another source of information, there's a new section of the jtv.tv website where you can find all of Matt's information and the retirement toolkit and so much more right at jtv.tv. Great to have you part of our website.
Thank you. I'm excited for that other resource out there too. Appreciate it.
Thanks for coming in.
Absolutely. Happy New Year, Bart.
Happy New Year, Matt.
Thank you.
Matt Curfman, co-owner, president, certified financial advisor at Richmond Brothers.